Hello and welcome to Council Action. I'm Russell Inman, and joining us tonight is Tim Lee from Ward 1. Tim, how are you?
Very good.
Good. Well, we had a nice meeting tonight. It was filled with nothing urgent, but it was a good agenda.
It was a good agenda, yeah. And we could have got out of here early, but you guys had to wait around until we could have a little executive session.
Special executive session tonight. And how did that go?
It was okay. It was a presentation about possibility of some energy savings changes in the future, and it's something we'll look at.
Okay.
Could be
something that might hit this agenda in the future?
It probably will in the future, yes, sir.
Well, we had a public hearing tonight, and the first one was for Burger King. They're doing a remodel. It looked like they showed some pictures up on the slides of a new frontage, but they also talked about a new floor, new paint, maybe some new aspects to their kitchen.
We're seeing a lot of that. I mean, we've got Jack in the Box was in a couple weeks ago doing it, and you know, it's good. We view it good for the city because you're taking these older established businesses and they're reinvesting.
Yeah.
And from what we heard tonight, I mean, they're going to redo interior, exterior. They're going to bring it up more modern with their current signage and logo and things like that. And to me, that's a very positive thing. Rather than just letting the business sit there and run down, they're going to spend the money to upgrade it, which means they're here for the long haul as well.
Yep.
So I think it's good for us.
Continuing on with a new brand. You're right. We saw that with Dairy Queen.
We did
several months ago.
Both Dairy Queens. So, yeah, both sides of town, right?
And I think several of the McDonald's have kind of undergone a change over the last few years. And
Taco Bell.
And Taco Bell too.
They did.
Right.
So yeah, lots of that's going on, which is good. Keep them updated and current for us. So.
Another business going to undergo a new kind of development is the GMT auto sales there on Lindbergh.
Yeah, GMT has just continued to kind of grow in that spot, and they're in a strange place because of where they're at. It's a right in, right out only, and they got the median on Lindbergh. And they talked a little bit tonight about the people that'll come down and try to do the U-turn, but they try to get in the U-turn, but then they can't turn into Waffle House either.
Right.
So they end up having to go down and so the old Fisher's Cape decorating place and the old was that a Duzel's custard?
It was at Iggy's.
Iggy's custard, years ago. They have the opportunity to purchase that, and so that would give them basically a property that abuts to their current property.
Okay.
And then they would be able to put an entrance in there off Charbonnaire and would connect their whole lot together. So it looked like a good plan. It'll be good for their business, and I don't see any downside to it. So.
Is there a time frame on when they'd like to have that implemented?
I'm sure they'd like to do it as soon as possible. I mean, with the weather changing and everything, they're not going to tear down the building. They're going to keep the building for like a sales office and that. So it's just going to be closing one of the curb cuts, and then doing some restriping and some resurfacing and things like that. So if that gets approval, I think they'll be moving on it pretty quick.
Okay. Well, second readings, both of these passed tonight. The first one was an ordinance authorizing a special use permit for the remodeling located at 4595 Washington.
The Jack in the Box.
The Jack in the Box.
Right.
And the second was an ordinance for a sum of $325,000 from the Park Improvement Fund. This is to fund the ball field lights.
Yeah, I mean, you may recall going back, we had a problem where one of the ball field lights broke off during one of the storms. Luckily, nobody was injured, but we found out that those poles were pretty much hollow. Bit of history, the city purchased those poles used from somebody like 25 or more years ago, and so really they've held up surprisingly well. But when we found the one was deteriorating, we went out and started checking and realized that we probably need to start addressing this as a big project. So we did phase one. That's completed now. We're replacing it with more modern lights, which we found out we can get by with fewer lights. And we're trying to phase it to where you can use maybe one pole to put lights on 2 fields and things like that. So phase one is complete. Looks really, really nice. The old poles are gone now. So this is going to be the funding to proceed with phase two. And there was some discussion about the amount of money needed. We were able to do phase one for a lot less than we anticipated, and I'm hoping we can do the next phases as well. But you have to plan. You don't necessarily know when you go out for competitive bids who's going to bid and what things you're going to run into. It's also a little bit, I think, a little bit longer distance to run some of the cabling and things. So
this just covers the excess in case these bids come in a little bit higher.
well, they usually build in a contingency above. So we estimate, or the city engineer and his staff will estimate what the project costs will be, and then we usually add a 10% contingency in there. So it appears that phase 2 is going to be more than we spent in phase 1, but if we can get maybe the same contractor and he does it for a price that he did similar to the other one, maybe we could save some money above that as well. So
terrific. There was a resolution for a grant application. This is replacing the tennis courts at Tower Court Park. That passed tonight.
yeah, we're going to try to get. People may recall we had a grant several years ago, and we've made a lot of improvements to Tower Court Park, but we really haven't done anything with the surface of the tennis court. So we're going to be submitting a grant application through the county parks fund, our municipal parks grant program, and hopefully they will consider our application, and then we can get some of those surfaces replaced. So
we had a request. This was a transfer of an existing non-commercial special use permit from Druce Kramer doing business as Cut Rate Liquor to Cut Rate Liquor Enterprises LLC doing business as Cut Rate. So
yeah, you may recall.
change?
Yeah, you may recall two weeks ago there was an ownership change. 2 weeks ago at our meeting, the gentleman was here getting his liquor license in order, the new owner, and at the time we had a bit of a dilemma as a city because normally a liquor store is a special use, and he's been there before we had most of the codes we have in the city. They've been operating. Druce has, and so we were like, well, how are we going to do this? So. What was finally determined in the past couple of weeks is that we were going to transfer a non-conforming, pre-existing non-conforming permit to him. So the new owner was here today, as was the old owner, Druce Kramer, and so you know, that's why we decided that would be the easiest way to do it and make sure that we're staying a good trail of what's going on now. So.
That carried forward and passed with 3 readings on the first reading piece tonight. And the Burger King also went through their renovations and remodels, went through with 3 readings. And an ordinance for the settlement of CenturyLink. This is the long distance company?
This is actually the cell phone settlement.
Okay.
And, I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe it is. It could be the landline settlement. We've been settling these since about 2008. And this was just a little one that was hanging in there, and it amounted to about $1,500 total. Was our settlement, but that's a smaller company that doesn't have much of a presence that affects us here, and it could be the landline one, yeah. So it was just a formality for us. We gave it 3 readings just to accept that settlement now, and I think that's the last of them. The big ones, the 600 and 700,000, we settled those a long time ago. So this is the wrap up of it.
And the final first reading for the agenda today was the ordinance approving an appropriation of $99,200 from a general revenue fund, $80,000 to account salaries, and $19,200 to the benefits. And
talk about that a little bit. This was basically it's a request for additional overtime for the police department, and everybody that's out there listening to this knows about the issues and the problems we've had with the city of Ferguson, and the city of Florissant has been cooperating 100%, working with Tom Jackson, the chief of Ferguson, and St. Louis County Police Department, the Highway Patrol. We've had officers over there, and we racked up a whole lot of overtime, but as Chief Lowry talked to us last Thursday night, he also wanted to assure everybody that we're also taking care of our city. So most of our officers didn't take vacation days, got called in. They were working 10 and 12-hour shifts because in addition to staffing over there, we were making sure that we didn't have issues or problems here, and thankfully we didn't. It didn't get here. So these guys just did a tremendous job. And I can't thank them enough, and I know the council feels the same way. So this is the overtime money to replace the money that they've used to get, and it'll get them through the end of the year. It'll also get them through any possibility of future needs that we have as related to the rest of the Ferguson issue. So when the grand jury comes in with a decision, we're hoping there's not problems, but there could be, and this is just making sure that the police are, have the resources that they need to be able to not just assist, but also to be able to protect our city, and that's what we'll make sure happens. So
good, that's good to hear. Council announcements came up next, and this is time where each of you get to give a little spiff of what's going on, maybe in your ward or in the city. And the thing that was pretty universal is the upcoming Fall Festival. Fall Festival, October 12th.
Yeah, and yours truly is one of the committee members again this year, and we're really excited about it. Fall Festival, to me, is probably one of the things that Florissant is all about. It's a family-friendly event, I think even more so than Valley of the Flowers. You see literally thousands of people lining up St. Francis Street, and it's just a great family event. This year, and I talked about that a little bit, we were fortunate enough to get the people from the World Bird Sanctuary. They're going to be bringing out a display. It's called the Birds of Prey display, so it's going to be 4 birds that they bring, and they just sit there. You can go right up and look at them, have a picture taken. But we're also bringing out an American eagle, a bald eagle. So they'll have an eagle on display as well. So we're going to have them there for 3 hours right here at City Hall. We're going to be set up out in the grounds here, and it's a great deal. I've seen this same display in the eagle several times from World Bird Sanctuary, and we were fortunate enough to have them up at the Nature Lodge a couple years ago, and I just think it's going to really go over well. But Fall Festival, it's everything. It's arts and crafts, it's vendors, it's just a really fun day.
It's a chili cook-off.
The chili cook-off, yeah. Mr. Shildroth took 2nd place last year, so he's going to be vying for 1st place this year. Of
course he will.
And Councilman Henke is going to be in this year, so he'll bring his chili recipe into play. But it goes the entire length of the street all the way down to the Knights of Columbus and the Shrine. There will be a car show in the morning down at the Shrine area, and it's not rides, it's not anything, it's not the carnival guys and all this stuff. It's just local businesses, local companies and stuff, and it's just a really good time. So mark your calendars, October 12th. Another neat thing this year is on the Saturday night before, you may recall the Smash Band got rained out, and so the Smash Band is going to be here on Saturday night down by the Lawyers Building down at the base of the hill. So we'll actually kick off a little bit early with the Smash Band. They're always one of the favorites. Bring the kids up and enjoy that. So that's going to be the Saturday night before. So
it'll be a heck of a weekend for the city of Florissant.
It's going to be a great weekend. We're really good. Now, we're not sure who's going to be in charge of the weather. Would you like to take it?
I'll take it.
Usually the new council people, that's their assignment, to be in charge of the weather. So Mr. Henke and Mr. Jones, I guess we'll let them decide who will take care of the weather for this weekend, but for that weekend. But looking for a really nice time.
Well, if the weather's good, credit it to me. But if it's not good,
there you go.
Definitely dish it on them.
Blame it on them.
All right. Anything else going on in your ward?
It's been a quiet summer, and which is always a good thing. We have no major things going on. One thing you didn't touch on a little bit was in the very beginning we had our message from the mayor on the budget.
That's right, we did.
The mayor gave the budget to the city council tonight and gave a message. We're basically it's a little over $33 million this year, and people I don't think realize that the city of Florissant it's a $33 million corporation, and so over the next few weeks and months, the city council will be working on the budget. There'll be a public hearing where the public can, starting tomorrow, they'll be able to see copies or get copies of the budget, and then we'll have a public hearing because we want to hear from the public, hear what they have to say. And then in the month of October, we will actually have some budget meetings where the council gets together. It's usually a full day on a Saturday. We'll start early in the morning and go all day. and usually we'll end up with a second evening just to get through the budget, and then there'll be 3 readings to pass the budget. So that's the big thing coming up in the fall. So, and I'm also going to jump back a little bit. I mentioned the police department, but you know, one of the things I want to talk about is that we were able to implement the pay plan, which was passed several years ago, and we were able to give the employees a raise this year, which was not originally anticipated. But by passing what we passed, the council, it's now in there automatically. So the mayor's budget does include a pay raise for all city employees next year. And I've said this before, and I will say it to anybody that will listen to me. Our employees are our most valuable asset in the city. We invest a lot of time and effort and money training them and getting them in here, and they just do an outstanding job. Not just our police officers, but our public works people, our street department, our parks people. People take a lot of that for granted. You go into the park and you say, oh, the grass is cut and it looks so pretty. Well, that's because somebody's out there working on that park. When you have a pothole, you call because you're upset because that pothole's not filled, and our goal is to get it filled as soon as possible and take care of our streets and things like that. But we just have a great group of employees, and you know, I personally want to thank all the employees for all they do for the city. And if you have a problem or an issue, you can call me or any of the council people. You can also call City Hall. We have the new reporting system on the website, which works really good. Okay. You can report any kind of a problem that you've got at all or an issue, and it'll give you a case number, and then you can check back and see what the status is. But it also will report back to you. It'll say it's been assigned to so-and-so, and then it has an estimated completion date and things like that. But and our employees just do a great job, so commend them, and I'm glad we were able to give them an increase this year. The mayor also mentioned in his budget that the cost of health insurance, we anticipate there will be an increase in health insurance, and we provide health insurance for our employees, which in this day and age it's rare. We pay 100% for the employees' health insurance costs. We pick up 25% of their dependent cost, and it's a very big piece of change, but you know, it's something that we do for our employees. Yeah, they deserve it.
Good. Tim, thanks for your time. Thanks for going through the meeting.
Not a problem.
And I'm sure all the employees appreciate the kind gestures you've mentioned towards them.
And our part-time employees too. They do a great job too. I mean,
we try.
The camera guys are out here tonight, sitting here working late, and I know you guys don't get overtime for doing this. You're just here tonight too, so we appreciate that as well. So, all right.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for watching. This is Russell Inman. You've been watching Council Action. We'll see you next time.